What that word means is that it wasn't cooperating, that the wind was in their face rather than in their back. Sometimes in life, when life is good and the wind is behind us and the sun is shining, there's a tendency that we think it's going to be like that all the time. But then there's a season in life where the wind is contrary. In fact, somebody in here may be facing a contrary wind now. That you can't even move forward because the wind is against you. Nothing wrong with your legs and feet. Nothing wrong with your brain sending the signal to these parts of your body, but you're unable to move because the wind is against you. The wind is against you, and you're trying to stand up in this wind without holding on to anything, because somebody told you to have something to hold on to is an indication of how weak you are. Now, to stand up in a contrary wind, not trying to hold on to something, really gives an indication of how foolish you are. Because if you really want to be about the business of living, you're going to have to find something that you can hold on to, something that you can anchor yourself in. And if you don't have something, you're going to have somebody. Now listen, can I tell you about somebody? You see, now your husband is good, but you need more than that. Your wife is good, but you're going to need more than that. Children are fine, but you're going to need more than that. When you learn how to lean on them, they're going to give out on you. That's what storms do. You see, while you're going through something, they may never say it to you, but they're going through something themselves. And sometimes when they don't come over and see about you, it's because they're trying to handle something on their own. And so everybody needs something more than what you can see to handle that which is contrary, bumping against you and preventing you from being the you that God has called you to be. And I can't delay the suspense that somebody is Jesus. In fact, when you look at this text, it's Jesus who told them, now let's go to the other side. And then he got on the boat and in the hinder part went to sleep because he was tired. He was ministering. In fact, the boat that they're now in was his pulpit to teach from and to preach from. The text said they took him just like he was. That is, they didn't hesitate. They left the crowd and they was going to the other side. You know, there had to be something marvelous about Jesus if he could say to them, let's leave the crowd and go to the other side. Sometimes in ministry, when you're preaching and teaching and carrying on like that, the whole purpose is to get a crowd. But he said, let's leave the crowd. Because in ministry, you can't become crowd conscious. No. When your assignment is to preach the gospel, to sing the gospel, to minister in prayer, to serve as ushers and greeters. When that's your mission, you take care of your mission. You'll be worried about no crowd, because the crowd may come or they may not. In fact, the Christian community is a whosoever will community. Like this morning, the only somebody that you could really be responsible for was yourself. You'd hope somebody else was going to be here, but if they wasn't, you're going to make sure that I was going to be in the house of the Lord, and I was going to open up my mouth, and at some point in the worship, I was going to tell him, thank you for another day. Thank you for another week. Been so good and you've been so kind. Am I talking to anybody in here? Bless his high name. He said let's go to the other side.